Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the newest edition of Dalescenter right here on YouTube. Be sure to like, subscribe, share. If I help you win some money this weekend, we've been on a roll dating back to Watkins Glen through Bristol. We've hit 4 outrights in a row, and hopefully we can keep it up heading into Kansas weekend for the Cup Series, Hollywood Casino 400, and then the Xfinity Series Kansas Lottery 300. I'd like to cover trucks, but at the time of this recording, it's post-practice, post-qualifying. Don't have odds yet. I'm sure you'll get them on DraftKings and Bet Rivers before anything else, maybe Caesars. Be sure to check that out if you're catching Dalescenter before the truck race on Friday night. And I'll go ahead and tell you what I like, what I already have. I have Raja Caruth at 9-1 outright. I've got Caden Honeycutt at 10-1 outright and Ben Rhodes at 33-1 outright. Now, if you're watching this before the race on Friday night, get brain fart. A lot going on right now. Trying to figure out if I can even bet on this with enough time. But if you are watching this before the truck race on Friday night, I think you're going to see Raja Caruth dip, maybe 12-1, 14-1 range. But I'd take it because I think his truck, along with his teammate Chase Purdy, have very, very good long run speed. They didn't qualify well. They qualified 15th and 16th, I believe. But I think their trucks are really, really good in the long run. So even Chase Purdy, his lack of fall off was crazy in practice on Friday afternoon. Like Chase Purdy, he's a Mississippi guy. He's about as talented as me when it comes to driving a race truck, with all due respect. That was mean. I can't do my Mississippi people like that. He's slightly better than I would be, I think. But he's in a really good race truck, and some of his best results have come on 1.5 miles. Chase Purdy seems like he's got a really good truck, and his teammate Raja Caruth, I think, will also have a good truck. So keep an eye out on those guys. Caden Honeycutt qualified well. I think you'll see him shrink from 10-1 to maybe 7-1, 8-1 range. Corey Heim crashed out in practice right at the beginning of the session, blew a right front tire, did not go to a backup truck, but they did repair his truck that he crashed with, and he will start basically dead last without a qualifying run and very minimal practice time. But Corey Heim has had speed just about everywhere. Let's see where he stacks up. If you can get 4-1 or better on Corey Heim, I'd take it because I think he's going to be fast. He's going to charge to the front. He'll be top 15, maybe top 10 by the end of stage 1. So Corey Heim, if you can get 4-1 or better, take it. I think he'll be fine on Friday night. And then Ben Rhodes. I don't know if I'd bet Ben Rhodes anything under 25-1. They just have not shown enough long run speed. Ben Rhodes and his team expressed that they're concerned about their long run speed on the outside, looking in on the playoff bubble as well. But 33-1 for a guy that's had 1.5-mile speed before, won the Charlotte race spring of 2023. They've done it before. And while he's in a desperate situation on the outside looking in the playoff hunt, 2 drivers will be eliminated on Friday night from the Craftsman Truck Series playoffs, and Ben Rhodes is likely to be one of them if he doesn't find his way to victory lane or run up in the top 3 all night long. Qualified 4th, but as I said, concerned about the long run speed. 33-1 I felt like is a good price for a guy that just seems like, whether or not he's got the speed, just finds a way. Defending Truck Series champion, 2-time Truck Series champion. Even when they didn't have the best truck last year, the majority of the season, they somehow found a way. So Ben Rhodes, I would not bet lower than 25-1 when it comes to the truck race on Friday night. Now, talked about Corey Heim, talked about Spire. Nick Sanchez and Grant Enfinger need to be in consideration as well. Now, depending on where they open back up at, I think Nick Sanchez qualified 6th or 7th and looked like he had some good long run speed, as well as Grant Enfinger. So Kansas, typically we get some long green flag runs, especially towards the end. Last fall was kind of an anomaly. Christian Eckes stole a win after I think he only led 2 laps. I think Corey Heim dominated that race, and Christian Eckes stole it at the end. So when we look at Kansas, long run speed is going to be very, very important. I'm eyeing everybody that I've already bet on: Raja Caruth, Caden Honeycutt, Nice Motorsports, the 45 truck that Caden Honeycutt's driving, always runs well here. They at least have one truck that is a contender at Kansas, it seems like, every single year. So Raja Caruth, Caden Honeycutt, Ben Rhodes, 3 guys I've already bet on. We're going to keep an eye on odds as the evening progresses. And I would like to bet on Corey Heim if I can get 4-1 or better. Nick Sanchez, I'm hoping we stay in the 6-1, 8-1 range. He might have the truck to beat. Bet on him. And then Chase Purdy's going to be 100-1, 80-1 range. Not going to hurt you to throw a sprinkle there. Maybe you can get around a 9-1, 10-1 top 5. That could be a good bet. According to the data, seems like he's got a really, really good truck, and he's a Mississippi guy. So Chase Purdy could be in consideration as well. And that's kind of what I'm looking at for trucks. Bottom of your screen, you're going to see lines for the NASCAR Cup Series, the Hollywood Casino 400 on Sunday afternoon. And after a very controversial Bristol race and aftermath of just complaining, and I was one of the complainers. The racing was garbage. Not because Kyle Larson dominated. I bet on Kyle Larson, but because there's no passing, and we're going to see the exact opposite all weekend long. For Trucks Friday, Xfinity Saturday, and Cup Sunday, there's going to be an unbelievable amount of passing, and I cannot wait. Lines courtesy of DraftKings Sportsbook. Before I get into actual race odds, let's talk about qualifying. That's going to be the first thing you'll be able to bet on after the truck race, and it'll be Saturday around lunchtime. You'll probably be watching college football. That's fine. I will too. But I'm going to keep up with qualifying because I got 6 guys that I'm betting on. No question about it. Over on Bet Rivers, 6 guys to win the pole. I'm betting Kyle Larson to win the pole. He always qualifies well here. He always races well here. But in qualifying, he's always knocking on the door of a top 5, top 3 spot. I know Christopher Bell has been really good at Kansas in qualifying. Won the pole here last year in this race. Plus 350 for a guy that has been out-qualified multiple times on intermediate racetracks in 2024. I don't think they've got what they had last year on the intermediates in terms of their qualifying package. So I'm not going to take Christopher Bell. I'm going to go with Kyle Larson instead at 4-1. And then 5 more guys. William Byron. Except for the spring race where I think he got up into the wall on his qualifying lap, qualified like 35th. William Byron has qualified excellent at Kansas since 2023. And in the Gen 7 era on intermediates, seems like he always makes the top 10 and has a shot at the pole. So 9-1 for William Byron. I'm on that. Ty Gibbs, 12-1. This kid has been really, really strong at qualifying for the most part this year, has qualified well in intermediates, got the pole at Pocono. So high-speed racetracks, Ty Gibbs has struggled to get the finishes, and that's why he's been eliminated from championship contention as of last week at Bristol. But qualifying-wise, I mean, this kid's been pretty damn fast. So give me Ty Gibbs 12-1. I think he'll be a threat to win the pole. Ross Chastain, 16-1. 2 of his last 3 Kansas races, he's qualified 2nd and 3rd. That's enough for me to bet 16-1 for Ross Chastain to win the pole. Kyle Busch, 20-1. Hot and cold in qualifying. Has really struggled finishing races, but that 8 car has speed. And since the beginning of the Gen 7 era, beginning with Tyler Reddick and then to Kyle Busch, that car has been very, very good at Kansas. His teammate Austin Dillon qualified in the top 10, I believe, in the spring race. So RCR is capable of giving race cars that can qualify up front. We've seen that in the Gen 7 era. Kyle Busch, I'm going to take 20-1 to win the pole on Saturday afternoon. Driver of the 8 car. I'm also taking Kyle Busch to win the race. We'll get into that a little bit later. And then Chase Briscoe, 35-1. Let's think about something here. So Briscoe's the only Stewart-Haas Racing driver in the playoffs. He's advanced 1 round, had a great first round. Seems like qualifying has been a lot better across the board for Chase Briscoe. I mean, it's been an amazing last 3 or 4 weeks for this guy who won at Darlington to clutch his way into the playoffs. And they haven't only raced well, they've qualified a lot better than they have at least in the first part of the season. But when you come back to the spring race here at Kansas, teammate Noah Gragson qualified 3rd, and Chase Briscoe qualified 10th. So maybe the days of SHR bringing Chase Briscoe a fucking lawnmower to a 1.5 mile intermediate racetracks are over. And when we consider that Chase Briscoe is the lone SHR guy in the playoffs, we've seen some stuff on Twitter or X about every piece of data from all the other SHR teams is going all in on improving Chase Briscoe's chances to run for a championship. So with all that being considered, the fact that they put 2 SHR cars in the top 10 in the spring race, everything's all in, pushed to the middle of the table on Chase Briscoe. he could be a very, very, very underdog sleeper type of guy to win the pole on Saturday afternoon. I would not be surprised if he qualified in the top 5. And at 35-1, low risk, could definitely be worth a play for Chase Briscoe. So, recapping qualifying bets, I'm taking Kyle Larson 4-1, William Byron 9-1, Ty Gibbs 12-1, Ross Chastain 16-1, Kyle Busch 20-1, and Chase Briscoe 35-1. For my specific unit allocations, just make sure you're in the Dalescenter NASCAR Discord, which you can find a link below in the YouTube description beneath this video. Join the Discord. You will never miss a bet. I'll also probably post these on Twitter, maybe on my Instagram story if I don't forget. But there's always a lot going on at the Dalescenter. So that's what I like for qualifying. Going to shift gears here. You've seen the lines on the bottom of your screen for the Cup race. Let's go to Xfinity. Now, Xfinity stuff kicks off around 11 a.m., 10 a.m., depending on what time zone you're on for practice and qualifying. Justin Allgaier is your favorite, or I guess the co-favorite with Cole Custer across the board. Not just DraftKings, but FanDuel, BetMGM, kind of having these two guys way above everybody else, and that's understandable. I'm not going to be betting on Justin Allgaier, at least at this point. Just so many mistakes from the 7 team. They just find ways to create. I mean, they're just so creative on finding ways to lose. And I'm going to wait till practice, till qualifying. I'm sure he won't qualify super well. They'll probably have good long run speed like they always do. And we will reevaluate. So we're going to hold on Justin Allgaier. Cole Custer's been good at Kansas as well, been good at the mile and a halfs. Won at Bristol last week, got some momentum. I'm going to wait on Cole Custer as well, but don't be surprised if that 00 qualifies on the pole on Saturday, or at least, worst case scenario, top 3. I mean, they have been lights out in qualifying, and this is a track where I expect that team to continue that blistering qualifying streak. So let's go a little bit further down. I got one guy that I'm eyeing, and we're going all in on for the Xfinity race on Saturday, Kansas Lottery 300, Eric Almirola. Now, hear me out. First thing you're going to think of, if you've paid attention, you're going to go back to Vegas, beginning of the year, when Eric Almirola in the 19 car ran, 12th? Everybody was betting on him in that race, and they said, well, that sucks. And you're thinking now, well, Almirola was good on the little super speedway package we had at Indy. He's been great on the short tracks. But that Vegas run, Vegas is a good comparison set racetrack to Kansas. You're probably thinking, comparison track did not run very well. Maybe I'll stay away. Let me dig in a little bit deeper here. Eric Almirola's crew chief during his first 2 races of the season, if I can pull this up, his name was Seth. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I'm pull it up real quick. If I can find it. Hold on, I know I got it screenshotted. His crew chief currently in the number 20 car is Tyler Allen. But his crew chief at the beginning of the year, in those first 2 races, is a guy named Seth Chavka. That's what it is. So, Eric Almirola, he's got 7 starts in the Xfinity Series this year. His first 2 were with crew chief Seth Chavka at Las Vegas and at Phoenix in the 19 car, and he finished 12th and 31st. 5 more starts on the year in the number 20 car at Richmond, Martinsville, Darlington, Indianapolis, and Watkins Glen. His finishes with Tyler Allen as a crew chief, who has won 7 races with 4 different drivers in 2024 as a crew chief of that number 20 car. 7 wins with 4 different drivers. I mean, that's rock solid right there at a variety of different racetracks. With Tyler Allen as his crew chief in these other 5 starts, 2nd, 1st, 5th, 3rd, and then 26th at Watkins Glen when they had a mechanical issue like at the very beginning of the race. So, Eric Almirola is 10-1 on FanDuel. He's plus 850 on DraftKings. Best line I've seen, 10-1 on FanDuel. And plus money top 5 is available on DraftKings. I'm hammering that. Eric Almirola top 5 plus 110, lock of the universe. No fucking question about it. It's gonna hit. Easiest bet of the week. I mean, you may not even have to bet on anything else. You want to bet the outright 10-1? Absolutely worth it for Eric Almirola. He could come out here and absolutely dominate. This 20 car with Tyler Allen as a crew chief, who I don't know a lot about, but the data does not lie. He's won 7 different races with 4 different drivers. Guys, Eric Almirola 10-1 is a fantastic bet for the Xfinity race on Saturday. Veteran guy, veteran racetrack, super fast Joe Gibbs Racing race car. Number 20 is going to be on rails on Saturday afternoon. Top 5 is a lock. Plus money top 5, I'd get it as soon as you can. Pre-practice, pre-qualifying. You never know if he's going to come out, qualify up front. If he qualifies in the top 5, top 3 even, that line's going to be gone. I would estimate it's going to be around, it's going to be like minus 110, minus 115. So Eric Almirola, well, you got a plus money top 5 available, I would take that because the stats don't lie. Eric Almirola is going to be really strong on Saturday afternoon in the Xfinity Series. Another thing on DraftKings, if you're into matchups, I'm not a big matchup guy. If you've watched this program, you know I'm not a big matchup guy. But I love the matchup of Eric Almirola over Chandler Smith. Eric Almirola, this 20 cars has been dialed in on this particular track type. Chandler Smith has 2 wins this year, both of them on short tracks. Ran well at Vegas earlier this year, finished 3rd, but has been pretty inconsistent for a Gibbs car on relative racetracks. So Almirola is the underdog to Chandler Smith, minus 110 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Chandler Smith, pretty good at qualifying. He might qualify better. Maybe there's potentially you get a better line on Almirola in a head-to-head matchup because I do think Chandler Smith will qualify well, but I don't think he will beat Almirola head-to-head without some kind of luck or mistake. So Eric Almirola is a huge emphasis play for the Xfinity Series on Saturday afternoon. And then I'm going to go to his teammate Sheldon Creed, 10-1 on FanDuel Sportsbook. We're betting on Sheldon. I've taken a few week hiatus on betting on Sheldon Creed. I'm trying to give him the mojo and the energy to break through and get that win, but he just consistently finishes 2nd. And I think this is a good track for him. He finished 3rd here with RCR last year. And within a Gibbs Toyota, number 18, they're going to be fast. So, I think Gibbs has potential to have some of the best cars here. And Sheldon Creed, he's just knocked on the door for so long. He's got to break through at some point. He's got to break through. I have held my tongue on not talking about him, not betting on him for the last several weeks. That changes right here, right now. Sheldon Creed, 10-1 on FanDuel Sportsbook. We're going back. We're going back to the Creed. We're going back to Sheldon Creed with a big bet. Probably going to put a unit on it. He's going to qualify well, I believe, and he's going to run up front and be a factor, as he always is, to win. So if you think he's going to finish 2nd, take the top 3. DraftKings has a top 3 on Sheldon Creed for plus 260. Bet Rivers, Campy Books have a top 3 on Sheldon Creed for, pulling up real quick. If we can load up, that'd be fantastic. Plus 260, same price. You're not getting anything different right now. I'm probably not going to bet the top 3 because I've got faith he's going to get it done. We're going back to Creed, and we're going to bet that 10-1 on FanDuel Sportsbook. So that's kind of what I like out of the favorites, I guess. To be determined on a Cole Custer or a Justin Allgaier. Let's see what happens when we actually hit the racetrack for those guys. And then AJ Allmendinger. We got to talk about AJ. AJ Allmendinger. I want to go over his finishes on similar racetracks in 2024. You're looking at 16-1 outright for a guy that has gotten it done at a mile and a half. We know Colleague has not been fantastic, but let's look at some similar tracks. Mile and a half in particular. Vegas early this year, he finished P6, had a great car. Texas, P4. Then you come to Charlotte, P5. Next, kind of mile and a half intermediate-ish type of racetrack. Nashville, P7. Pocono, P6. So high speed, lower downforce racetracks. When I say lower downforce, I mean anti the package we ran at Michigan and Indy for the Xfinity Series. Those are not accurate data points in my mind because we had glorified little pack racing horse shit, completely gutted the race car. We're talking where the cars are as little restricted as they will ever be, which Vegas, Texas, Charlotte, Pocono, Nashville, which Nashville's not super high speed, but there are some comparison factors in Nashville. AJ's run 7th or better in all of them. So AJ Allmendinger for a top 5 plus 210. Maybe you'll get a better price. He's kind of inconsistent in qualifying, typically good on the long run, managing tires. AJ's going to have speed, I believe, on Saturday afternoon. He's run well here in the past at Kansas Speedway. So give me AJ Allmendinger. I'll take the outright. He has not won this year in the Xfinity Series, which is crazy to me, but that's the SVG effect. If he's going to win a race, I said this back at COTA when SVG was just better. You know, I said that AJ, if he wants to win races this year, it's probably going to have to be on an oval. And here we are in September, right about to be October, still winless, but this is a track he can get it done at. So we're going to take AJ Allmendinger. I think he can get close to a 5-1 top 3 if you like that as well. I like the outright. I like the top 5 for AJ Allmendinger. And that's kind of what I got for Xfinity for Saturday afternoon. I guess it's time. And you know, I got 2 more actually. I haven't bet these yet, but I'm leaning pre-practice, pre-qualifying, maybe taking the RCR guys. Austin Hill, Jesse Love. I think Jesse Love is way better than 22-1. I think Austin Hill, who's been really, really quiet recently, has not had a lot of good runs. Austin Hill 12-1 over on BetMGM, I believe, or Bet Rivers. 12-1 on Bet Rivers. Jesse Love was 22-1 on DraftKings. Let me see what he is on the Bet Rivers book. 25-1 on Bet Rivers for Jesse Love. I think these are better drivers and better race cars than a 20-1, 25-1 when we talk about Jesse Love. And Austin Hill, who's been quiet, has sneakily been a 1.5 mile guy. Like, he's outside of the super speedways, his best runs come on tracks just like this behind me. So maybe Austin Hill could be in consideration for an outright. We know that pit crew can help him gain track position as the race goes on. Don't sleep on the RCR guys at Kansas this weekend. So I guess to recap, Austin Hill, Jesse Love, take a look at. I'm all in on Creed. I'm super all in on Eric Almirola, and I'm all in on AJ Allmendinger as well. So that's what I'm looking at for Xfinity. Once again, join the Discord, follow me on Twitter, maybe Instagram stories. I'll have my betting card with specific unit allocations heading into the Saturday afternoon race, as I will for qualifying as well before we get to Saturday afternoon or Saturday morning, whatever. Just be following on Twitter. Be in the Dalescenter NASCAR Discord to make sure you don't miss a bet. And now for the Cup race, ladies and gentlemen. The Hollywood Casino 400. Once again, lines on the bottom of your screen, courtesy of DraftKings Sportsbook. You know, somebody mentioned this to me in my live stream. I don't talk a lot about Kyle Larson in these previews. And that's typically calculated. It's almost instinctive at this point because Kyle Larson is the favorite virtually everywhere we go, especially if he wins a race. The recency bias going into the next few weeks is off the charts, like DraftKings has, plus 320 outright. You can't bet that right now, especially at a track like Kansas where he's been phenomenal, but we've seen some craziness. We've seen some wild finishes, some wild moments. Last 2 races have been ridiculous at Kansas, dating back to, last 3 races. You could go further back to 2022. Shit. Everything here, it seems like, is dictated on the final lap of the race. And for that reason, I don't think plus 320 is worth it. I think I am betting him to win the pole, but there's a chance. We see Kyle Larson slip up in qualifying. He makes mistakes, and you lose track position to start the race. The Toyotas, maybe in 10-lap averages, 15-lap averages, show or exhibit very, very good long run speed. Maybe you get a little bit of a twist where the Gibbs guys, or like Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick in a Toyota, Christopher Bell, maybe they jump up a little bit to the top of the board, and Kyle Larson, green flag time, you can get 5-1, 6-1 maybe. And not just that, but live betting Kyle Larson in the middle of the race, because in the race, it seems like they always make mistakes when they're the guy to beat. Bristol is one of the rare, just full masterclass races you'll see out of Kyle Larson, where he leads that many laps, and nobody could pass at all in that race. So, Kansas is going to be a lot different, folks. Very, very different. I don't think it's worth betting Kyle Larson at plus 320. I don't think you'll see Kyle Larson's odds diminish down to 2-1, 2.5-1 range. So don't bet on him before practice and qualifying. Let's see what happens. It's an unpredictable type of weekend at an unpredictable racetrack that's been lights out entertainment-wise for the Cup Series. Typically, the more entertaining it is, the less often the favorites win. So just keep that in mind when we talk about Kyle Larson. And I'm going to stick with that same concept even for someone like Denny Hamlin, your favorites. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait on the favorites. Let's see what happens when we actually hit the racetrack, and then we'll see where the favorites kind of stack up after practice and qualifying. So, a few guys I'm looking at. I've already bet on Kyle Busch, 25-1. That line was courtesy of BetMGM. Not sure if that's held up yet. The line on DraftKings is substantially worse than what you could get on BetMGM or FanDuel, maybe BetRivers as well. And then I got Ross Chastain, 30-1. Talked about those guys in qualifying. They've had very good race cars at Kansas since the beginning of the Gen 7 era. I know they're not in the playoffs. Maybe that helps us out on the value, because while the books may have given up on Kyle Busch, like saying he just can't win, he can't finish, not being in the playoffs, I think has influenced these lines a little bit, because someone like Chris Buescher, who lost by a testicle hair at Kansas earlier this year, 20-1. I mean, to me, there's definitely some bias on the playoff guys that it maybe gives you some enhanced value on Chris Buescher, Kyle Busch, and Ross Chastain, who at some point in the Gen 7 era have displayed winning or borderline winning speed at this racetrack and at mile and a halves. So I'm going to take all three of them. Chris Buescher, 20-1, available, I believe, on FanDuel, BetMGM. Kyle Busch, 25-1, Ross Chastain, 30-1. And, Chris Buescher's a guy you can afford to wait on, because they never qualify well, but they race really, really well. They have very, very good long-run speed, it seems like, at a variety of different racetracks in that number 17 Ford Mustang for RFK. So Chris Buescher maybe can wait on, probably won't qualify well. They'll show up during the race. And then Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain, I think, are two guys that are very capable of winning the pole, qualifying in the top 10. And if they do, then you may not, those lines that I got, 25-1, 30-1, may not survive until green flag on Sunday. So I would consider Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain as low-risk outrights to bet before we get to the green flag on Sunday afternoon. Now, I hate to say this. I do, but I'm going to keep an eye on Martin Truex Jr. They were very, very good here in the spring. If that race had played out naturally, I think he would have won. Instead, we get a caution because Kyle Busch spun from like fourth place, something he's done all year. I think that's going to change. I have a feeling that Kyle Busch is going to win. My brain says Denny Hamlin's going to win. Just for full disclosure, I'm not ready to bet on Denny Hamlin yet. They haven't particularly qualified well here over the past year or so, but they've raced very, very well. They've had lights-out race cars. Denny Hamlin was leading when that caution came out in the spring. That resulted in a photo finish. Ended up finishing fifth. Truex finished fourth. So when I consider the Toyotas, I think Denny Hamlin will win this weekend. But I've got my eye on Martin Truex. I think it's about that time. Everybody's given up. They're like, oh, it's his last full-time year. He can't win. And that's probably true. But in this case, he could be deadly because they've had great mile-and-a-half speed. He's been great at this racetrack. Probably should have won the race in the spring earlier this year. Keep an eye on the 19. I'm not prepared to bet on him yet. 16-1, though. 18-1 range could be worth it. Semi-low risk when you look at Truex and how good. He's had great race cars. He just, like Kyle Busch, makes so many critical mistakes that has costed him a shot at a championship, costed him a shot at multiple wins throughout the year. But Kansas is a track where I think he can get it done. Kyle Busch can get it done. So keep an eye on those guys before we get to the green flag on Sunday afternoon. Anything else? I have 3 guys. Actually, 4. Game time decision before I went live here. I decided to add another guy that I'm going to bet on before we practice and before we qualify. 4 guys for a top 10. All of them underdog plays. All of them on BetMGM. I'm taking all 3 Spire guys for a top 10. Don't forget, Justin Haley is now driving the 7 car. Corey LaJoie is now driving the 51. The rare in-season trade has happened. Justin Haley is so good at just finishing races. And that's all he's done all year long at Rick Ware Racing, is just complete all the laps. Even when they've had problems, had issues on pit road, Justin Haley is just a guy that rarely makes mistakes on his own. It is the polar opposite of Corey LaJoie. And when you look at Corey LaJoie, go back and look at the film. It's so many races this year where Corey LaJoie qualified well, ran around the top 10, clearly had a good race car, and then made a mistake and ended it prematurely. Justin Haley's not going to do that. And the momentum that Spire has right now, we have all the rumblings that they're going to become a Team Hendrick affiliate, basically a Tier 1 Chevy program, which is amazing. Seriously, I mean, it's like the equivalent of 2311 being a Joe Gibbs satellite. And we know how good their cars are with Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace. Spire could be that with Hendrick Motorsports, the ultimate Goliath of NASCAR racing right now. So when I look at Spire, they've got a lot of momentum. Carson Hocevar has been just awesome. I mean, it seems like every week he's running in the top 20, running around the top 10, starting to secure some top 5s. I mean, Hocevar has really, really impressed in 2024. Zane Smith has had a, completely upside down flip in the best way possible on his second half of the NASCAR Cup Series season, reeling in top 15s, top 10s, top 5 at Watkins Glen. I mean, Spire's momentum is incredible. And now you get Justin Haley, who's got enough experience in the Gen 7 and doesn't make mistakes. Put him behind the wheel of this number 7 car that has clearly had speed in a program that's got a lot of momentum. 8-1 top 10 on BetMGM. Yeah, you had to wait for that one, but you're welcome. It was worth the wait. 8-1 top 10 on BetMGM for Justin Haley. Absolutely worth it. I think that is a phenomenal bet. I'd get it before practice and qualifying because this 7 car has qualified really, really well many, many times in 2024. So get that top 10 before practice and qualifying. Carson Hocevar, plus 650 top 10 on BetMGM. Get that before practice and qualifying. Same thing. They have qualified super well. They qualified second at Darlington. I mean, these teams have had, big time glimpses of single lap speed. So not only has the race speed been good, qualifying speed has been better. So keep an eye on those 2 guys. And then Zane Smith, top 10, 20-1, has a great resume at Kansas in the Truck Series. How much does that matter? Probably not a lot, but I just love the momentum. Zane Smith has been a completely different driver in the second half of 2024. Seems like he's kind of auditioning. So give me another good run from Zane Smith. 20-1 top 10. I just love the program at Spire right now. Take all 3 of those guys for a top 10. Maybe do a unit, 3/4 of a unit, and then a half unit. Ladder your units on the 3 drivers. Could be a good game plan for Sunday afternoon. And I would take all 3 of those before qualifying. No other book is even close on those lines. Like I looked at FanDuel, who's typically very good at top 10 odds. Zane Smith, 20-1 on BetMGM for top 10 is 8-1 on FanDuel. Get it while you can, folks. And then my final guy for a top 10, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Now, people forget this, and Ricky's been went on a good summer stretch of top 5. You have a bad race, top 10, bad race, top 10. Last few weeks have not been great for Ricky Stenhouse, but the 1.5 miles have been pretty friendly to JTG Daugherty Racing, and Ricky's had some good results at tracks like Kansas. It seems like he's a top 20 guy here almost every time we come to Kansas Speedway. So Ricky Stenhouse, 14-1 top 10 on BetMGM. I would take that before qualifying too. Typically, that team does not qualify well ever. Excuse me. So maybe you can wait, but I'm going to go ahead and take it now because the way books have been saturating top 10 odds more and more as the season has progressed, I don't want to take any chances. So it's kind of slept on. I talked about the Hendrick thing. JTG has Hendrick power, so typically when we come to these mile and a halves and Hendrick guys run well, Ricky Stenhouse in the 47 runs well too. So 4 top 10 bets. Corey LaJoie, no. Justin Haley, Zane Smith, Carson Osevar, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., all worthy of top 10. Justin Haley, probably going to take for a top 5 and to win. Just never know. I mean, I think this kid is so talented. You can get a great 110 to 1, 120 to 1 outright on Justin Haley, 30 to 1 top 5 to go with a 8 to 1 top 10. Yeah, I think we're going to bet all that. So that is what I like for the Hollywood Casino 400 at Kansas Speedway this weekend. Truck lines are still not up. I was hoping. I'm going to refresh DraftKings real quick. I was hoping by the end of the program here, we would get some truck lines. And they are up. Yes, they are up. Corey Heim is plus 185, and he's starting dead last. Holy fuck. Wow. Okay, let's talk about the good things. Good things. Roger Carruth, Caden Honeycutt are at a better price, 12 to 1. I would bet those. Grant Enfinger plus 850. Wow, that's okay. Canby should have odds up soon. Nick Sanchez plus 450 on DraftKings. Fuck, man. This is tough. This is tough. Wow. Okay. Just go back to what I said at the beginning, and hopefully we can get some better lines elsewhere. Canby also has lines up right now. Roger Carruth, 14 to 1 on Canby. I would take that in a heartbeat. Chase Purdy, 25 to 1. Don't love that. I was hoping we could get better, way better. Corey Heim plus 200. Dude. Yeah, these suck. We're going to call it there. Let's think about the good. Let's think about the good. We got good lines on Xfinity. We got good lines on Cup in the race and in qualifying. I'm just devastated by these truck odds. But we're going to be okay, chat. Or folks. I'm used to doing the live streams with a live chat. And check those out, by the way, over on Kick. A lot of iRacing streams. We do watch parties. I will be doing a watch party on kick.com/Dale Tanhart for the Cup race on Sunday afternoon. We can sweat our bets together and enjoy what I expect to be a great race. So check that out. If you want to see all my Cup bets, they are exclusively posted on the Action Network app. That link is below in my YouTube description. And check out everything else that's full of pure stupidity, chaos, degeneracy. And that's everything Dale Tanhart. I don't know how else to describe it in a more professional, concise manner. So you're welcome. But thank you for watching. Once again, please be sure to like, subscribe, share if I help you win some money. We've been on a roll recently, and hopefully we'll continue that into Kansas weekend. Everybody out east of me, please be safe during the hurricane. Very, very scary stuff out there around Tennessee, Florida, and Georgia. So stay safe in the hurricane, please. And hopefully we'll enjoy a good racing weekend. So thanks again, guys. And I'll see you guys throughout the weekend.